So the first video I showed how to open Emacs and got lost a little bit along the way because my Emacs screen looks quite different from yours because I'm doing a number of things with Emacs that at this point you probably won't be doing. So we have opened Emacs and you can do this simply by using the taskbar in Windows. And the new concept here was the so-called shell, or also a command prompt. That's important to remember here. So once you've opened Emacs, you see the start page with a lot of information and the condition for following along if you want to do this, unless you just want to, watch the series through while you do something else. The condition is really that you have gone through the Emacs tutorial. So the very first thing you need to do if you want to do this with me and not get lost, as I type various things that you see on the left-hand side, like I'm going down here with Control N, I'm going up with Control E, going forward with Control F, and so on. If you don't want to get lost in that, you must do this tutorial. So you do this simply from the beginning to the end. You start at the top and work your way down. And at the end, you will be at the end of the tutorial, and then you really know your way around Emacs. In particular, all these keystrokes that you see me type the entire time. I'm going to close the tutorial again, and I'm going to start with the exercise. Now, where's the exercise? The exercise is on GitHub. Just going to open GitHub quickly, go into the repositories. Well, you can see me again, not really necessary. I'm going to go to this one of the courses here, and in the courses you find the assignments folder, and the assignments folder you find the org mode folder, and you have just put a PDF where you can see the exercise, and this is what I will hand out in the classroom. So what you're supposed to do is to create an org mode file with certain characteristics. Now, to do that, we have to first actually find a place where we can open a file. We could do this, anywhere, of course. The way to open a file. Let's maybe put this here on a list. Find a space to work in. And we could do this right here by typing Control X D. I'm just going to put that command down here, Control X D. This is the command for dired, D-I-R-E-D. That's the you see it down here in the minibuffer at the bottom of the Emacs screen. Dired is the file explorer in Emacs, and what you see. What is opened here is a file in Windows, but actually this happens to be the place. This is the place where Emacs resides. So if we try to create files there, we will mess up the file structure. You may not even be allowed to do it. I'm not even sure you're allowed to do it. I'm just going to type return in order to look at that. You see lots of executable files here, a bunch of files. This is all the stuff that makes Emacs tick. So we don't want to do that. We're going to want to go back. I just typed Control X B to go back, switch to buffer. I'm going to do that again, Control X and B. And when I do that, I can go back to the previous buffer. I can also do a bunch of other things. I can cancel this command if this is not what I wanted by typing Control G. And I can cycle with the mouse through these, but I want to stay on my keyboard, so I don't want to do that. And I can cycle through the different buffers as well. What I like to do is I like to do Control X, Control B, open another window, go down here, which I can do with Control X O. And whenever you hear this annoying sound, that means that I'm in another window and something doesn't work. So I'm going to switch between these buffers with Control X O, as you can see. I have a package installed that's called Ace Windows, and that means that the key binding to change the windows is put to different keys, in this case Alt-O. So I can do that. Alt-O changes between buffers in my system. That's pretty good I'm going to use. So what I did here is with Control-X-B, so this is CXD is DRED. That's like that's the file explorer. That led to the window here at the top. And then another command I used was CXB to switch the buffer, or CXCB. I'll do that again. CXCB opens the buffer list. And you know this from the tutorial. The buffer is an essential part of Emacs. The buffer gives you a lot of information. I'm going to type CX1 to make this bigger. I can go back to two windows like that. I can do 3 windows. I can go back and make 4 windows or 5 or any number of windows. But I'm going to go back to my window number 1 and Control X to make this big. So this is another thing you need to remember from the tutorial. If you want to have one window, CX1 means delete all other windows, just one window. CX2 opens a vertical window, just going to do this here. CX2 opens a vertical window, CX1 goes back to one window, CX3 opens a vertical window, and CX2 opens a horizontal window. Yeah, so I can now go back between these windows. And whenever I go into a window, you see that the buffer, the mini buffer at the bottom, the mode line, this is called the mode line actually, changes color to indicate where I am. I go Control X1, go to this buffer, and now let's just go back to the new Emacs main window and try to find a directory we can actually and want to actually work in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again Control X D for direct, and now I go to the beginning of the line. I could also just delete, or I could go to the beginning of the line with Control A. So this is quite useful in the mini buffer. Control A, beginning of line. And if I go back here with the mouse, I do need the mouse just to switch between windows, not normally. If I go Control E, that's the end of line. Control A is beginning, Control E is the end of the line. Yeah. So, and every time I want to go, this buffer down here at the bottom where I'm working right now, that's the mini buffer. And the mini buffer also counts as a buffer. So this rule of Control X O to go up and Control X O to go down to the other window. So O for other window. Maybe I should write that down as well. Control X O. Sorry, let me just repeat that last one. Control X O is other buffer. And unless you do a lot of work in Emacs, you will not have 15 windows open. You probably have 2 windows open or 3. So for example, when I use my Windows key to make this big like that, Windows and upper arrow, and I might want to split the screen and do different things here. So for example, I'll just miss my screen. But I think you saw what I was trying to do. So yeah, we still haven't found our directory. Let's do this again. Control XD, Control A to go to the beginning, and now Control K to delete the line. So Control K, delete the line. Everything that follows, basically. We go back to here, and now we type tilde / This tilde slash stands for the home directory. And this is my home. You can see this at the top. I'm going to go to the top of the screen. You see here, I'm just highlighting this, users Birkenkra. This is where I reside. So these are all the files that are mine at the moment. And here we're going to find our place in a moment. So I can write this down. The place we want to go to is tilde slash, and that's the home directory. Home folder or home directory. And in that home folder, I have a place I want to go to, which I know where it is. It's in Documents, it's in GitHub, and it's in this course, CC100. And all I do here is go to a particular line and then just enter. So I'm going to go org mode. And here's the file that we just looked at on the left-hand side, the PDF file. Here's the org file with the assignment. There's an HTML file, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another directory with plus. So I simply type plus, and what you see at the bottom is I see a create directory appears. So I can now create a directory, and I'm going to type demo. What you see is the directory demo appears. And this is where we're going to work. I'm going to just summarize this here, what I just did. So I went in DRED, in the DRED buffer, the directory. I typed plus, and that led to create new directory. Now I'm curious how long this took. It's not so much that we did, but it's really like a repetition of the tutorial. Now we have found a place here. This is the complete path to the place where we want to work. We could have made this easier too. I could just have stayed in the Control XD again, could have stayed, Control A to the beginning of the line. I could have stayed here and just created a directory here as well. Yeah, so with plus, I could have created a directory right at the root, but I decided to go down in the tree and put it in the right place. But that's enough for now.